As the U.S. reaches 250 years, most people naturally look back to the dramatic moments of the founding era. The Revolution, the fierce debates over independence, the Constitution itself. And those moments matter. They define the political birth of a nation. But there was another challenge just as critical. How do you build a prosperous nation from here on that can actually last? Because winning independence was one achievement. Sustaining a country capable of supporting millions of people was something else entirely. Without a functioning economic system, even the most powerful ideas struggle to survive. The founders understood this. They knew that liberty alone would not create prosperity. Freedom creates opportunity, but opportunity requires systems. Systems that organize capital, encourage enterprise, and support growth. And few people understood this more clearly than Alexander Hamilton. When the Revolutionary War ended, the United States was free, but it was also fragile, deep in debt, without stable financial institutions, with inconsistent currencies across the states, and very little trust from global markets. Commerce struggled. Credit was unreliable. Investors were uncertain. The country had political independence, but not economic stability. And without that, the entire experiment was at risk. Hamilton saw this problem clearly, and more importantly, he saw what needed to be built, not just policies and architecture. As the first Secretary of the Treasury, he proposed something that was then bold, a system that could support growth for generations. The federal government would assume more debts to establish national credit. A national bank would stabilize currency and enable commerce. Support for domestic industry would strengthen economic independence. These ideas were controversial at the time. Many feared centralized financial power. They worried it would resemble the systems they had just fought to be freed from. But Hamilton believed something deeply. He wrote, "A national debt, if it is not excessive, will be to us a national blessing." That sounds counterintuitive, but what he meant was, when managed with discipline, financial systems create trust, and trust creates access to capital, and capital allows a nation to build. This was one of Hamilton's most important insights. Capital is not just stored wealth, it is the builder's tool. Capital builds infrastructure, funds innovation, expands opportunity. It turns ideas into reality. Hamilton also wrote in the Federalist Papers, "Energy in the executive is a leading character in the definition of good government." What he was getting at was the need for capability. Systems don't just exist on paper, but actually function. Systems with strength and clarity, execution. And that principle extends far beyond government. It applies to business, to markets, to leadership itself. Because prosperity doesn't come from effort alone. It comes from effort multiplied by effective systems. That's the formula. The American economy has always depended on two forces working together: individual enterprise and institutional structure. Entrepreneurs build, tradespeople master their craft, innovators create new possibilities, but all of that works best inside systems that are stable, reliable, trustworthy, and transparent. Strong systems amplify effort, weak systems constrain it. Hamilton helped build the environment where builders could thrive, and over time, this architecture worked. Infrastructure expanded, markets connected, industries emerged. Railroads, manufacturing, technology, each layer building on the last. And each step, productivity increased, opportunity expanded, and our nation grew stronger. The architecture of prosperity began to take shape. Now, here's what matters for us today. That system didn't guarantee success. It simply created the possibility for it. Prosperity still had to be built by individuals, farmers, craftsmen, entrepreneurs, people willing to take initiative and create value. And that hasn't changed. Even today, the strength of the American economy is rooted locally. Small and mid-sized businesses, repair shops, construction companies, fabricators. These are the engines of real economic life. They create jobs, they circulate capital, they build trust. National prosperity is built from local strength, but with the power of capital comes responsibility. Because where capital flows, that determines what gets built, which industries grow, which ideas succeed, which communities will thrive. When capital is used wisely, it strengthens the system, but when it's misused, it destabilizes it. And today, just like 250 years ago, builders are still at the center of it all. entrepreneurs launching companies, tradespeople maintaining infrastructure, innovators reshaping industries, working inside systems that make their work possible. Banks, markets, institutions, all part of the architecture Hamilton helped design. So here's a bigger idea. A free society is not sustained by ideals alone. It requires structure, systems, and architecture that supports growth over time. That architecture doesn't build itself. It has to be designed and maintained and strengthened. And most importantly, it must be used by the people willing to build. Because 250 years later, the system still stands. And the question is the same as it's always been from the very beginning. What are we going to build with it? I'll see you next time.